to this stream in which we are going to be following British players playing at home and abroad, and in particular, of course, the Hastings International Chess Congress 2025, which started about 10 minutes ago. I'm joined as always by Women's International Master Natasha Regan. Natasha, welcome.
Hello.
And a late Merry Christmas and an early Happy New Year. So it's let's dive into the game, shall we? What we as we can see from the pairings on the left, we've got a number of grandmasters taking part in the Hastings Congress. We've got Wilhelm Pauli, who played last year. I think I actually did a video on one of his excellent games. We've got Sarunas Sulskis. Then we've also got Stevie Gordon and Wojciech Platt. Wojciech Platt, well known in the UK, played a lot of 4NCL at the time, and a host of IMs as well, and also Alexander Kovchan from Ukraine, who plays in England an awful lot as well. So quite a few good names there. And also
juniors, so we can even see some of the juniors and British players already on that front page. So Harry Bryant up there taking on a grandmaster on board one. Aaron Saunders, Peter Finn, who we know very well on this stream, checkmate a lot, and Aditya Vaidyanathan, who we also know a lot from our previous commentaries.
And a little further down, we've got Stanley, we've got Rukaya, we've got I think Badana is taking part as well. Taking part,
but I showed you she wasn't paired today, so I don't think.
Okay, that's interesting, and a host of other strong English players, young and old, and obviously we're going to keep up with them as things go. But should we dive into the first game then?
Yes.
And have a look at Harry Bryant against Pierre-Laurent Pauli. Harry, do you know anything about Harry, Natasha?
I know Harry very well because I have, a few years ago now, partnered with him in a Bughouse tournament. We played at the Mind Sports Olympiad, and Harry is very strong and very fast.
Okay.
And very confident as well. So after the Bughouse tournament, he challenged Peter Robeson, international master, to a series of blitz games. I think at the time Peter won all the games, but Harry was still as confident right from the start, right to the end. And of course, that's how he's going to learn a whole lot of stuff. And he had chances in all the games as well. But now he's 2 years older and wiser than that, and let's see if it helps him against Grandmaster Pierre-Laurent Pauli.
How old is Harry?
Oh, not old. I will look it up.
It doesn't have to be exact. I was wondering, just 14, 15, or
if maybe even younger. Let me just see.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, right.
Harry, 2012, 13.
Okay, rating of 2207, not bad. So let's have a look at the opening here. So it's E4C6, Caro-Kann, very popular nowadays. The Caro-Kann. There've been lots of books and courses on it, and yeah, I mean it's very, very popular at the top level as well. So yeah, you see a lot of it. The advanced French. One of the most popular lines. I think white players are having a lot of problems dealing with this Korchnoi variation. I mean, Korchnoi played it in the 70s and 80s, and then it sort of disappeared out of sight for unknown reasons, really. And because he scored very well with it, but it came back with a vengeance. And pretty much every book nowadays that comes out recommends this system, and black scoring really pretty well with it. So I think white players have are looking a lot more at the advance. And for a long time, C5 was very popular. In England, well, it's called by Grandmaster Keith Arkle, the Henkin-Arkle system, after Igor Henkin and also Keith, who played it an awful lot. That's been recommended a lot in books, but I sort of have the feeling that Bishop F5 the traditional main move is making a kind of a comeback.
Hi, Ocelot.
Hey, Ocelot. And yeah, h4 played by white. This is one of the most popular lines. Got recommended in a few quality chess books at some stage with some very sharp lines. I think John Shaw's book on 1e4, which was extremely good, had a lot of space on this. So quite interesting. It's so white's aim really is to play the move g4. And to gain a lot of space on the king side. Obviously, the bishop couldn't stay. If you got in g4, h5, bishop e4, f3, the bishop would be trapped. So either white's going to gain this huge swathe of space on the king side, or you've got to move a king side pawn in order to try and, well, you know, either keep the bishop on this diagonal or hold white back. And h5 has been the most popular move recently. And now white plays the move bishop d3. In some ways feels a little bit odd to give up the light squared bishop because, you know, white's central pawns are on dark squares. So you sort of say, you know, once black, you know, removes that light squared bishop, all the light squares around the pawn structure are weak, and white's left with this bad bishop. But there are some quite specific ideas. In particular, one idea that white's got here is to play the move e6.
Yeah.
And well, black played the move queen a5 check, which is quite interesting. It's the old Capablanca maneuver with the idea of exchanging off the queens with queen a6. That was one of the earliest games was Atkins against Capablanca in 1909 or something, where this maneuver took part. So white's got a couple of interesting ideas in this position. I mean, you could play the move b4 even, or you could play the move bishop d2. The idea of both of those is that is to gain a tempo against the queen, which gives you time to play this move e6. And it's quite interesting in actual fact. I mean, these positions are, you know, very, very unclear somehow. You know, white's got those double pawns, but you know, when black plays f takes e6, then he has difficulty getting his king side developed. But
have we talked about this position recently in one of the other streams?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. Yeah, it's
maybe a Talented Tuesday. Yeah.
No, not a carrot. We've had lots of Frenches in Talented Tuesday, but no carrots.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting line. But Harry actually goes for a slightly quieter line, knight d2. Yeah. And now black gets in e6, knight f3. Black plays this queen a6, and now white plays the move c4. Bishop b4 with a little pin, threatening d takes c4 or queen takes c4, and now b3, and black plays the knight to e7. Black often plays the knight to h6 actually, just to make sure that the bishop's, you know, always got a square there to retreat to. But presumably black's intending to move the knight out of there quite quickly, so it won't really make much difference. And Harry's played bishop b2. So, I mean, yeah, this is quite a typical position, quite kind of well known, this position. Actually, bishop b2 is maybe a little bit unusual, just thinking. I mean, normally white might try and do without that move and maybe castle and maybe go a3 or something. And, you know, the bishop might want to come out to here somehow. On b2, it doesn't have that much to do. So that's already a slightly unusual move. I mean, I've played these positions as white. I don't know whether you remember, Natasha. We did a simul at Banbury.
I remember the simul. Yes.
So we did a tandem simul, and then I took on my own. I took on Marcus Harvey and James Jackson. That's right, wasn't it? And well, I mean, I had a very, very long game against Marcus Harvey, which we ended up drawing. And it was in this variation, and Marcus just played it so solidly. You know, it felt like there was never any way to break through. I think I won the exchange, but nothing. You know, I just couldn't break through somehow. And in the end, we agreed a draw, and Marcus very kindly took us home, or either took us to the hotel. But it's I've always found it a very difficult system for White to break through. I mean, Black doesn't have a weak light squared bishop anymore. Got enough room for all of his pieces, even though he's a tiny little bit cramped. And you know, any break that White makes, it always feels like there's, you know, the possibility for just creating more weaknesses. So find these positions very difficult to handle. So Pierre is having a think here, because I think because of the unusual move bishop b2, you know, and he's having a little think what to do. I mean, essentially, White's looks like White's intending to play a3 quickly. So Black's got to decide what to do with that bishop. Do you want to swap it off? Probably not, because, you know, it's not bad in principle giving up a bishop for a knight, but it feels a little bit early. But then you probably wouldn't want to go back to a5. You'd probably want to put the bishop on e7. But then Black's got to decide, does the knight want to go to g6 or to f5? F5 would be the most natural move by far, I have to say. You know, and then after a3, you go bishop e7, and the and the game continues. I mean, at some stage, Black might get an idea like we'll maybe have a look at trying to go knight d7 and c5. White's queen often moves to the side, c3, just to get out of that pin and to give White the opportunity to take on d5. You know, but it's in principle, Black's doing fine. You know, I mean, it's just a typical opening position somehow. So yeah, plenty of play in that, of course, and well, we'll see how that proceeds, I guess. Let's have a look. The next, these are people who obviously like the London system. London system lovers here, because they've played it both with White and with Black. So the very experienced Grandmaster Saruna Salskis. So d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, c3 played. Flexible system. You know, you can put the bishop on f4 or on g5, or you could even just play a colle with e3. You know, it's one of those little things. If Black's got a specific system against against the London system or whatever, then this is intended to deal with it. But in actual fact, Black just decided to just do the same. So play c6, and after bishop f4, bishop f5, e3, e6, h3, h6. Black probably hasn't had to do too much thinking, just copy what White's doing. And now bishop e2 played by White, and Black can decide what to do here.
There are plenty of games where mirroring the opponent is quite a good strategy, but chess never struck me as one of them. That
I mean, I think in d4, it's always a little bit more possible than e4 somehow. Do you know that there's this famous thing in e4, e5 openings? I'm being very enthusiastic now, and I'm wondering whether I can remember it or not, but I think so. That d3, d6, castles, bishop g5, bishop g4, knight d5, knight d4. You know, you can try and mirror absolutely everything. But if you mirror like this, then queen d2 ends up being really dangerous with you're just threatening queen g5 here. And Black can't mirror it because queen d7, well, we've got various ideas, but this is the most gorgeous, I think, here, and bishop takes g7 with checkmate. So mirroring is often quite dangerous, but somehow in d4
you can do it in Go. You could do it for quite a long time in Go. You can do it in Battle Sheep. That can work pretty well, Battle Sheep. But there is a win if you do. So it only works if they don't really know it. But chess, it seems to be it's going to be good for White eventually at some point.
There's going to be some tactics. It's a very quiet opening, of course.
But he has continued the mirroring strategy.
Indeed, if a grandmaster's playing the moves as white, they must be good as black. That's how Aaron's thinking, and well, the game will sort of take flight, I guess, a little bit later somehow. But for now, both sides keeping it tight at the back and at the front and at the side as well. So not much happening there. This is quite interesting. This is Peter Finn, isn't it? Peter Finn against Marius Doubt. Let me just slightly like that. Slightly better. So this is quite interesting. So we get sort of a Catalan with an early bishop b4 check and then d5. I mean, you could have gone d5 and bishop b4 check, knight d2, doesn't really matter. Bishop to g2. There's one thing about doing it through this move order is that often against these knight d2 systems, black can play d takes c4. But here, having put the bishop on g2 and not the knight on f3, then you've got this queen a4 check idea, which is kind of nasty. So and the bishop on b4 drops. You've got to be a little bit careful. So castles knight f3. Yeah, I mean, black could still try and win this pawn with d takes c4. It's Dubov came up with a lot of ideas in these sort of systems, just sacrificing the c4 pawn, but black played very cautiously with b6. I have to say that in the good old days, you really used to say that playing b6 with the pawn on d5 and with white having the opportunity to take on d5 and give you this structure, this was meant to be kind of an amateur's mistake somehow, but I'm seeing it a lot now in all sorts of different systems. People are just merrily just playing b6 and not caring at all. So yeah, it's one of those things where you say, I'm not quite sure what's changed, but something definitely has. But Peter anyway didn't take. He castled bishop b7. Knight e5
for the good luck message, and good luck also with the tournament. Matt is one of the arbiters at the tournament.
Oh, that's right. Well, good luck. Good luck with the tournament. So knight e5, and now an interesting move, a5. Sort of, not 100% easy to say, well, what is that move doing specifically now? But it is going to be a useful move later. First of all, it stops white from playing a3 and b4, you never know, black might also decide to play a4 just to cramp the white queen side. I mean, if white played a move like b3, then having the move, well, you've got bishop c3 in this position, so it's not, but having the move a4 to attack the queen side is not bad. The one interesting thing, one reasoning you might say is, well, also the white knight's on d2, so the slight weakness of this b5 square doesn't matter, because the knight can't get there, which makes Peter's move quite interesting, which is the move knight to b1.
Oh, that's what he's played. Okay,
that's what he's played,
so and he's going to try and reroute to b5.
Yeah, not common on the Masters database. Just one game there, but to be honest, looks quite sensible. I have to say, you'll be thinking about going a3 and knight c3, or just knight c3, and we'll see how things go. But that knight is sort of looking at the b5 square. So black plays knight bd7, which seems to be a novelty even on, no, not on Lee Chess, never on Lee Chess. But, not that many games, just 19. But in the Masters database, online database, it's a novelty. So now white's got to decide what to do. Obviously, white's lost quite a bit of time with knight d2 to b1 to c3. So you've got to be a little bit. You've got to, well, it's not that you've got to be careful, because it's not like your position is that dangerous, but you'll have to do a little bit of careful calculation to make sure that black doesn't have an equalizer very quickly, because that's what tends to happen with time.
Could black, is black just threatening to take this knight on e5?
Well, it's possible. I mean, knight c3 is white's most obvious move, I think. I mean, if you go, I mean, a3 is also an idea, just to secure c3 for the knight. But then you've got to think about bishop d6 attacking this one, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you just sort of simply got to think about it. So, I mean, knight c3 would be natural to do that. And now, yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, black could try taking on e5 there, takes, and maybe playing. Well, there's a couple of moves. I mean, knight e4 is sort of obvious. Seems to make use of that bishop somehow. There's also something like, I mean, there's moves like knight g4 as well, which would be interesting. You know, that's possible as well. Even bishop takes c3 is not completely unthinkable. So, okay, I mean, let's have a look at knight e4. We're attacking this one. And so I take, and then now it's really a question as to whether a move like queen c2 works. You know, black's gained a lot of time, but is it enough, or is, you know, white just simply doing well? And it's not very clear. I mean, queen d4 looks like a really great move, defending the pawn and attacking this one. But I play bishop f4, and I'm sort of threatening rook d1 here. So and then afterwards bishop takes e4. So you'd need to sort of have a you know, a sort of a clever idea here to get yourself moving. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you don't really have time for g5 here because they go rook d1.
Yeah, we've got rook d1 anyway in all these cases. So, you know, it's yeah. I mean, even g5, you know, even if it worked, it would be rather loosening somehow. F5, we take on f6 simply. You know, so I imagine actually that this is pretty good for.
This is
I don't know
Peter's plan. Yeah.
Peter's plan. I mean, that seems to work quite well. So that's already quite positive. So that sort of gives you the hope of playing knight c3. And if you want to play the knight to e4, you could take on here first. Obviously, we take here. So I could take on here, takes, and go knight e4. Never 100% sure about these positions with you know, with two bishops, whatever. I mean, c takes d5, we'd probably throw in knight c3, and then knight takes d5, which is quite clever. And yeah, I think, yeah, the white knights may be a little bit short of the black knights, maybe a little bit short of squares, but I don't suppose you can really exploit that too badly. So knight e4, probably I do something like queen c2. And then I've got ideas like c takes d5. In general, I'd sort of expect white to be, I expect this to be pretty decent for white somehow, you know. Always like the two bishops, you know, it's that looks quite pleasant. So, okay, I mean, the other sort of move that you'd like, maybe knight d7, that looks a little passive, but maybe not, I don't know. Knight g4 would be interesting.
Yeah, knight g4 is what I was thinking, yeah.
So we've got a few different ideas here. I mean, if you're looking for hyper sharp, then queen d4 would be an interesting one, hitting the knight and defending the pawn. And then you've got to think what you're going to do here. Yeah, it starts getting interesting. I mean, you could play. You've got to watch out here because white also has an idea of playing c takes d5 here.
Yeah.
So I'm just sort of wondering whether we've got anything clever. I mean, f5 is kind of the most natural move.
Yeah, but they can maybe kick the knight.
Well, if I kick the knight, I've got to start looking out for moves like, yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm just sort of guessing. Bishop c5, queen f4, and then, yeah, maybe g5. I'm not sure. I don't know how this is all rather mysterious somehow. Yeah, I take on here, but yeah, you sort of want to have something, but maybe you don't have anything simply. I mean, another idea would be to play c5 somehow, but again, queen f4, g5, takes. Maybe I could take and come here, take some bishop takes. I'm not sure this is particularly. I think you're actually suffering a little bit with your d pawn here because this bishop turns out to be really nasty. Sort of weird somehow, yeah. I'd sort of feel that black should be doing quite nicely, but actually, I don't really, I don't particularly see it. I have to say, you know. So it's no, I don't know. Unless you've got a really clever idea. This queen d4 actually looks quite awkward somehow. You just kick the knight back. And then this pawn is hanging as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't. I'm not really sure how to do that. I mean, you could do it in a safer way and just go knight d7.
Yeah.
And again, this is your idea, right? To take on there like this. I mean, I don't know whether is this anything for. I wouldn't have thought this would be. Oh well, I don't know. Bishop g2. I can take on f7 after all.
Yeah.
F7. I don't know. As always with these things, you're sort of thinking, you know, is this might be quite nice compensation for black. You know, well-placed knight and well, it's got these pawns, but any pawns you advance create more weaknesses. But these are difficult things to judge somehow. Yeah, I mean, always you always wonder about them. Okay, I mean, well, I think what you can certainly say, I mean, that there's maybe other moves as well apart from c takes d5. I mean, you could also just play a move like bishop f4, sort of tempt out g5, or yeah, maybe even f4. You know, and you're thinking about taking on d5. I mean, you know, black might try here in this case, but maybe I've got bishop a3. I think you know. I think the only the conclusion I am sort of drawing from it is that you know, knight c3 looks like a decent attempt. You know, it's unclear enough to say that that knight takes c5 is pretty double-edged. You know, not clear at all how black should play there. So you know, I would say that playing knight c3 is quite decent here. You know, and then you just leave the decision for black as to what he wants to do. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe a move. Not sure. c5 could be interesting. It's a little bit risky, simply because of this bishop on b4.
Oh yeah, that would get trapped.
So for example, I mean, I could try knight takes d7 here. So obviously, if you take there, I could think of taking here.
You could move your knight back to b1 again, just for
well,
the laugh.
I was kind of thinking of queen d7, knight a4, threatening knight b6, and then we've got a3. You know, that sort of thing somehow. I mean, it could be quite worrying.
That looks quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you could. I mean, the only thing is that you sort of wonder is, you know, could I maybe sack something like this and get some huge pawns in this? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit random, but I'd say that, you know, knight c3 is challenging for black. You know, it's there's nothing obvious there. So yeah, you know, I think you might as well play it there. There's no need to prepare it with anything else. Although, I mean, presumably there are. I mean, a move like bishop f4 is not silly. That's quite common in the Catalan, just to put the bishop on there. I suppose you could even play bishop g5. It's not totally silly. With the idea of h6, I'd try knight d7 then, you know, and queen d7 to go bishop f6. A sneaky little trick. Maybe bishop e7 would be, you know, would be better there. Just looking to exchange off some pieces. But again, maybe then I could go knight c3. Yeah, bishop g5 doesn't look crazy somehow either. Knight c3 played by Peter. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the decent possibilities. I was also vaguely wondering about knight d3. So he takes, I can always take this one, and vaguely looking at going c5 and a3. Actually, come to think of it, could I have tried knight takes d7 here, by the way?
Knight takes and knight takes.
c5.
Trying to trap the bishop. Okay. But I mean, say you just went a4.
Yeah, I go a3.
And drop back.
Drop back.
So do you think you can go queen a4?
Well, yeah, no, I can go queen a4. The only thing is I guess he's going to take. He could always go bishop b6 here and get his bishop free. So yeah, I guess that's true. But you've got to watch out though. Always, you've definitely got to watch out there because yeah, that bishop is kind of awkward. But yeah, takes c5. A4 does look good enough. It's just you're vaguely wondering whether. Well, obviously you're looking at this c6 somehow, but yeah, you're not going to be able to.
Bishop takes.
No, you're not going to be able to do it. I mean, you could try and play a subtle move like Queen C2, then, you know, and threatening that, and have C5, C6 follow. But it's all getting too much, I think. But anyway, Knight C3 was played by Peter, and that's a move that we think is quite good. So a very interesting opening, and looks like quite a fresh position. There's no Grandmaster games in there. Knight B1 was quite unusual. Lichess, there's just one game with Rook B8. Rook B8. Rook B8.
Guess just trying to defend the bishop.
I suppose just protecting the bishop somehow, but it does not feel like the right way to play there. But yeah, I wouldn't be amazed if Black, you know, retreated a bishop somewhere and just look to play C5 later. But also C6 is not impossible either. Just preparing to take and go Knight D7 without hanging this D5 pawn. That's also possible. All right, let's move on to Tor Frederick Carson. That's is he Danish? Danish, I think, isn't he? Danish. Norwegian. Sorry, that's Norwegian flag, isn't it? Yeah. Against Aditya. So we've got this was a Rossolimo with G6 and Rossolimo Sicilian Bishop B5, one of the most popular lines against 2 Knight C6. Yeah, you avoid the Sveshnikov and complicated Sicilians like this, and it's quite challenging for Black. Do you know who Rossolimo was, Natasha?
Oh God, Argentinian.
Was he Argentinian? I think you're right, actually. Yes, he was Niccolo Rossolimo, and he was a very strong player, but a taxi driver by profession, as well as other things. But somehow this system that he came up with in the 1950s is still probably the most popular system against 2 Knight C6 Sicilians that you can find. So quite amazing, those things. White's played it in an interesting way. I mean, after G6, you can take on C6 immediately, which gives you some more flexibility, even casting queenside in some positions. So White's played a couple of sort of consolidating moves. So it reduced Black's options, but also reduced White's options as well. So quite interesting. I mean, in general, Black's idea normally would be to play the pawn to E5 and try and get the knight round to E6. That's a very common way of doing it. From E6, the knight eyes F4 and D4, and it's like a little bit like a Maroczy bind, really, clamping down on White's position. So I think what we're going to see is that White has played to avoid this. For the moment, Black can't achieve E5.
So it looks like White's trying to get quite solid setup here.
It's a solid setup to start with, certainly. So I mean, you're playing H3 here, stop the bishop on G4. I mean, the big idea really is that this bishop on I mean, Black's compensation for the double pawns and the somewhat static structure is the bishop pair, but White's saying, yeah, this bishop is so useless it can't get active. So but the thing about bishops is that they can often be active even from their initial square. They don't have to move anywhere in particular. So for the moment, it's not crucial. But yeah, as games go by, if the bishop doesn't get active at some stage, it just ends up turning into a horrible piece. There've been a few lovely engine games from Leela with this sort of theme. So after knight e8, Black is threatening to play e5, which would really make sense of the Black position. So White stops it with e5 himself, and that kind of blocks out the bishop. It sort of leaks out a couple of light squares, but so far nothing really Black can exploit with his bishop. But the knight now gets to c7, and it could go to d5. A4. Taking control of some squares, a5, b3, all those as many pawns as possible on light squares, restricting that bishop. knight e6, knight e2, rook a7, bishop e3. So white's sort of keeping control of that d4 square and actually looking to exchange off the dark squared bishops. And I mean, one of the best ways to negate the advantage of a bishop pair for someone is to exchange off one of their bishops. So that's what White was aiming for, and Adita is alert to that and stops it with h6 and king h7. Rook a d1, and now rook d7 and knight f4. And yeah, very, very interesting position, this one. Quite, yeah, sort of heavy strategical, you know, and yeah, I'm not quite sure what, not quite sure what black should play. I mean, to be honest, the exchange of a pair of knights does seem very tempting for black, because obviously, you know, black's a little bit short of space.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that a move like here and here, you know, looking really to try and bring the bishop into e6 and maybe into d5 later, would be quite pleasant for black. The only thing I am sort of wondering about, though, is you've always got to watch out for these, is whether d4 might be interesting.
So if d4, black could presumably just take that.
Yeah.
Knight takes.
So knight takes. We've got to take with a knight, because takes rook d7 would be extremely unfriendly.
Yeah.
So knight takes d4, and now you've just got to watch out. I mean, you know, a bishop d7, for example, we'd have knight takes c6, you know, and these guys are a little bit weak.
What about, is rook d7?
Rook d7 is definitely possible. Actually, maybe also quite strong, come to think of it, because how on earth are you going to deal with the threat of c5?
Because if you go knight c6, you take the queen, and that's
no, that's really, really good, actually. Yeah, no. So this is then d4 is not at all possible. So this must be quite decent for black, I would have thought. I mean, I don't know whether I need to even go rook. I mean, I could go rook d5 as well, but I kind of like sort of having d5 for my bishop as a square somehow. And I quite like the idea of here and then maybe trying to go for b5 and maybe c4 at some stage, maybe. Never know. I think black's fine. I don't, normally speaking, I wouldn't have thought you'd really want to be exchanging off these knights, to be honest. So yeah, I think that's looking quite comfortable for black, I would say. A bit odd positions, but yeah, you know, looks quite decent for black to me. So yeah, we'll see what black does, but I quite like it.
Adita's only 13 years old, so another of our
My goodness me. So we've got Harry, who's 13 as well, and yeah, and Adita 13, and on the high board so far, so brilliant. We've got Stevie Gordon playing against Ukrainian Mikhail Chigorin. So Stevie Gordon had a very long absence from chess, and has been playing quite a bit, actually, hasn't he?
Yes, he was at, where was he at?
He was at the British, certainly.
The British. Yeah.
And I think a few other tournaments, London Classic as well, I think.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the rapid play, wasn't he?
Yeah, rapid play. I'm not sure about the Open, but certainly the rapid play. So, knight f3.
Mikhail Lowe is another young player, so born 2007. So that'll make him 18.
2007. Oh yeah, 18. So G3. So the Luke McShane system. He plays a lot of these G3 systems against E6 Sicilians. So quite a sensible system, actually. You don't need to learn to know too much theory. Stevie Gordon doesn't play D5. Doesn't want to allow this King's Indian attack type position. it's fine for black in principle, but yeah, it's one of those types of positions that you know, when you analyze it at home, you say, oh, that's absolutely fine. When you play it at the board, you start getting worried about your king. So yeah, d6 is a very sensible way of playing it, like a Sicilian, basically, like a slow Sicilian. So rook e1 rather than this kind of transposes into a French type structure. So this is the more Sicilian way of playing it. So after rook e1, rook b8, a4, stopping b5, a6, c3. I mean, this is what white is aiming for. Then against d6, you're just trying to get d4 and get a double pawn center, which of course in a normal open Sicilian you never get. But of course, since white has been, you know, slower getting those pawns into the center, black's often a lot better placed for dealing with it. I played a lot of these as white. I played the King's Indian attack a lot against the French and also against Sicilians. And I have to say that this system I always found never particularly easy to deal with. I never felt I was getting anything at all. So Queen c7 was played by Stevie Gordon, and I guess that his idea is if d4, he wants to take and play knight b4 here and threaten knight c2. I mean, I do slightly wonder about that because, I mean, white's got a couple of ideas to deal with that always. He's got rook a3 simply, and if knight c2, we've got rook c3. So you could also play it, I don't know which is best, to be honest. You could also play it with rook e3 and then go to rook c3. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But well, why did white play the slightly strange move queen c2? And then Stevie Gordon's played bishop d7. So yeah, white's got to decide what to do there. I'm a bit surprised by queen c2. I don't really... Not sure I really understand that. I mean, you might argue that you can play d4 now because the queen's pinning the queen.
Yeah.
But that's never going to go well. I mean, black's always got more,
yeah,
you know, more power that he can put on the file. So
now it's connected queens, so you could have potentially threats of knight d4 after that.
Yeah, I'm not. It's just not a good square for the queen, I think, in this type of position. Is my feeling, but and okay, black's going to play b5 and you know, and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, I think black's very comfortable out of the opening there. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's have a look. Wojtek Platz.
Steve Gordon, he played in the Super Upper Play, but also the Open, actually.
Played in the Open as well. My goodness, he has been playing a lot, hasn't he? So it's yeah, I mean, I think he's still, you know, sort of feeling his way back a bit, isn't he? I mean, he was a very strong player when he was, you know, very active before. So he's sort of just feeling his way back into it. But I think, you know, with practice, obviously, that's what you need, really. But I mean, I'm trying to think how long he's been away from the game, but it's quite a while, right? I think it's maybe 6 or 7 years, I think.
Maybe. Yeah, he seemed to play in the Bangkok Open as well this year.
Okay, wow, my goodness.
He's right back into it, which is excellent news for us.
Yeah, no, brilliant. But yeah, I mean, chess has changed an awful lot in the last 5 years, really noted enormously. So, yeah, you know, it definitely will take a while to get back, but yeah, playing is the way to do it. So we've got Wojtek Platz against Callum Brewer. Callum's another.
Yes.
Youngster,
okay, I should have anticipated that one. I'm just
sorry about that. I'm putting you on the spot there.
Callum is born in 2000.
Oh, an oldie.
Yeah. I thought he was younger than that. Actually.
I thought he was much younger. Yeah, no, it's true. So, what did Wojtek do? He played a Trompowsky and then knight d2. Yeah, nobody really takes on f6 anymore nowadays. There's various systems. Some people swear by e takes f6. That's the Liko Almasi Hungarian remedy. Then there was a match. England against Hungary meant some years ago, where both Mickey and Julian Hodgson played the Trompovsky, and both Dalmashi and Liko played the same system, and both drew in 20 moves somehow. So with Ef6 and then playing F5 and C6 and Bishop D6 and Knight D7 to F6, something like that, very solid. And GF6 is also very interesting. There was quite a famous game by Stuart Conquest against with Black against Tony Miles, where Stuart just played E5, put everything in the center, and really blasted Tony off the board, which did not happen very often to Tony in this system, I have to say. So,
well, shout out to Stuart, of course, because he's the organizer of this.
Exactly. It's and former winner of this tournament as well, I think.
Yes,
yeah, indeed. So yeah, he's really in terms of Hastings, he's got all of the qualifications somehow. So
you're a former winner, are you, Matthew? Of Hastings?
I'm a former winner as well. Yeah.
Which year did you win?
96 or 7 or maybe 5. I'm not sure. I won. Yeah, I won the. I had a really good tournament one year and won the Premier. I think I also won the Challengers as well one time. Not sure. I do remember losing to Judith Polgar one year in the Challengers when I was 13 and she was 11. So
gosh.
I got a bit of unfriendly teasing at school somehow, about haha, you lost to a girl. And
they used to do that in those days, didn't they?
It's true. And the point was, of course, that actually at the time she was lower rated. She was 2360. I was 2385. But on the next rating list, she was like 2555 or something. Yeah. It was a hell of a game, actually. It was a very, very interesting game. But yeah, I got tricked late in the middle game, and as you do against Judith, and that was that. She won the Challengers and then played in the Premier next year. I think won it, to be honest.
Did she at age 12?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
wow, who knows? It was that's incredible. That's so good.
I know. Maybe no. That wasn't the year that she won it. She won it a year that I played when I must have been about 17 or 18, maybe. Okay. And then she beat Bareev, who was the leader in the last round, I think, to come first in a crunching game. So and she beat me there as well with white as well. So I didn't have a very good record against Judith, but that's no shame somehow. Anyway, they don't take on F6, Knight D2, E6, Knight F3. So actually, I've analysed a lot of similar positions to this recently for unknown reasons.
Unknown reasons.
No, what was it? It was yes, this came out. There was a game, Mariotti against Beliavsky. Mariotti is one of my enthusiasms, yes. Italian player from the 1970s, and yeah, ended up analysing these types of positions an awful lot. But all sorts of ways you can play it, but Callum's played it very sensibly. Just develop pieces towards the center, and this is an important move always with Black. If you can get this one in safely, Knight E4, then normally speaking, you're doing quite well in these systems. You're sort of blocking any white attacks along the long diagonal, and you're also exchanging off a set of pieces, which just gives your pieces some room. And Wojtek has played Knight DF3 there, so not even challenging the knight there. But this is basically very, very fine for Black. No problems at all. No problems for white either. So I mean, it's just a position that you'll have to play, but no worries there at all. I mean, Black can play it in various ways. I mean, there is the possibility to play the move. To play the move F5 and go for a sort of a double stone wall. You could also play a move like Knight F6 and just sort of really just solidify that knight on E4. I mean, these they call them superfluous knights. They get a bad press because both knights are aiming for the same square. So but I mean, what you can do with Black here is play the knight to D6 and then this knight to E4. So you play that knight to D6, this knight to E4, and then you're ready to play the move F6 to chase away the knight. That's quite a nice little maneuver there. You could also play the move F6 You've always got to watch out with this one, because there are always tactics like this that are quite irritating. In this case, though, you could take on c5 with a knight, and you'd be doing well. So you've also got to watch out. Sometimes you can do this and then play dc5 and black's forced to take. But here, of course, the knight on f3 is hanging, so that doesn't work either. There's always little tricks in these positions, but basically, I mean, it looks like black's got a super move order, a super position here, and you can do pretty much anything and stand quite well, you know. So yeah, I think the main part of the game will come later, but I do like the idea of just shuffling your knights like this, playing f6, and then, you know, later you can try and come down on the queen side like this. You know, it would could be quite dangerous for white. Not
now,
really clear.
Callum, I think he must be a little bit less familiar with the position because he's way behind on the clock on this one.
He is way behind. I mean, Wojtek has played really, really fast, which is, yeah, you know, very practical, very good, of course. That's, you know, I think, you know, everyone's so much better prepared nowadays. You know, they've got knowledge of everything. So it's, you know, playing something slightly less normal, less usual, and playing it quickly, you know, is quite a good idea. I mean, it's the, I think, you know, in England you'd probably call it the Mark Hebden approach, right? You know, just Mark was always doing this. So yeah, it's definitely a decent approach somehow. Let's have a look. We've got Yunyi Zhang, oh good lord, against Bennett Hagner.
Now, Yunyi Zhang is born 2014, so a youngster, 11 years old.
11 years old. Oh, right. Wow. So also with a rating of 2172. I mean, it's amazing, right? Just how many,
it's really
how many English juniors we have, you know, young English juniors with a rating, you know, close to 2200. It's incredible, really. It's, you know. So this is very interesting. He played the move f3 here.
Okay.
So there's a book by Sergei Kasparov, no relation, called Steamrolling. Is it steamrolling or steamrollering? I'm not sure, never sure about that one. But anyway, doing that to the Sicilian, and it's based on 5f3. And actually, just independent of that, I played 5f3 quite a bit. I was quite, I quite like the line. The big problem is that there's some fairly convincing drawing lines with knight c6 and very early d5 breaks. But the idea basically for white is to try and get some sort of Maroczy bind with c4, nice. And you know, and basically not give black an exciting Sicilian. So, but black played quite an interesting line here. Played e5, knight b3. This is the old move. They used to play bishop b5 check, but that's thought to be quite bad for white after this pawn sacrifice, d5, a6 takes, and bishop d7, and then bishop c5. This is thought to be very unpleasant for white in actual fact. So knight b3 is the modern line. And then black's got a few ideas. I mean, d5 is recommended by Anish Giri in his Najdorf course. And then actually he sort of recommends going for an endgame, which kind of surprised me in a way, I have to say. But what was the variation that he played? He was playing it, I think it goes bishop f6. You've got to get the move order right, and then playing it like this. I always assumed that this was going to be quite pleasant for white, but he makes a very good case for it, for you know, for being pretty good for black. I spent a very long time analyzing d4 at one stage, and I think that was something. I think was it even a novelty at the time? I'm not sure. It was very new, and I put it into a book review column. So I was quite pleased with that. But it's sort of a pawn sacrifice. You know, if white plays c3, you often just sacrifice the pawn, but say all the dark squares around the pawns are quite weak somehow.
Is this the one where Giri missed it out of his course?
No. That's something else. That's in the Benko Gambit. But I think Gelfand was the first big one to play this as black. But I think it's quite promising. But bishop e6 is also very interesting. These are just very sharp positions now. c4, knight bd7. And well, white's got lots of ways of playing. I mean, you can play the knight to c3. The problem there is that you basically end up having to sacrifice this pawn.
Okay.
So it's very hard to hold normally. Well, you can play knight d5, but these are slightly risky things to do. The point is, of course, though, is that once black takes this pawn on c4, you get rid of the light square bishop, so you lose control over the d5 square. So there is compensation there. You can also play moves like knight a3 as well, which is obviously intending to keep a bit of a grip of d5, but also protect the pawn on c4. What white did was play bishop e3, which is another subtle little move order. The idea is that if you go rook c8, you could play either knight a3 or knight d2, you know, and do that. But black now took the decision to play it very nice and wildly and play the move b5 immediately.
Okay.
So
I guess you can take this. Yeah.
C takes b5 and now d5, and the board is on fire here.
Okay.
So now there's a few games in the Masters database here. What white did looks very risky. E takes d5. There's nothing more in the Masters database after this. I'm not too surprised because it looks really risky to, you know, you sort of think that you'd be trying to keep the center closed, maybe knight 1d2, you know, seems natural to me. This is just opening the center, which you sort of feel is going to be helping black somehow. But okay, it can also just be a very brave decision as well. So
I mean, white has the bishop pair, but black's better developed, so that's...
No, both sides have got bishops.
Oh, sorry, both sides have bishops.
So so bishop b4 check played, knight d2, and then black decided, in we go, boys, with e4. So
okay, so how many pawns is that now?
It's going to be two, just the two. And now knight f6. So I mean, what is black aiming for? Well, there's knight e4, and there's also this move bishop b3, which is kind of awkward. For example, if you were to play the move a3 here, I would take, and after takes, I would play.
You could do knight c5.
Knight c5, which picks up the queen on b3 there. So there's already a lot of danger. So queen e2 was played.
Could you go bishop d3? What happens to you then?
Ooh, I'm not sure, but I'm really worried about knight e5 here. I mean, I've got moves like bishop g4 coming in as well, you know, and for example, if you come back here, bishop g4, and I've got knight d3s coming in. I'm not sure, but I'm seriously worried about it. So
yeah, so queen e2.
White played queen e2, which is, I mean, it's not really helping to develop the king side. I think white was maybe thinking about castling queen side.
Yeah.
But black's decided to take that one out of the equation by going there and rook c8. And yeah, rook c2 is threatened now.
This just looks scary.
This is looking very scary indeed. So white's played the move bishop d4. And now black is thinking.
Yeah, so if black goes into c2, white's idea is presumably to drop back.
I think bishop c3 is what you're aiming for. Yeah, now there's a couple of things that occur to you. I mean, rook c3 looks incredibly tempting, but I don't know. I mean, you can keep on chasing this bishop and maybe not quite clear, but I'm just wondering whether after bishop c3 you could simply take off like that and then play a move like knight c5. But okay, maybe not 100% clear. I mean, I've got some nasty threats, and knight b3, knight e4. And if you were to go queen e3,
yeah. You're going to hit me with...
No, it's not really that clear, actually. Oh, well, wait a minute. Yeah, no, I mean, this is kind of vaguely natural, I suppose, but you will actually trap the knight in the end, so that's not bad. What I could do, of course, is to play the move knight g4. But I could go, because obviously queen c5, queen d2 check is checkmate, but I could just go queen d4 here. And, well, I don't see mate yet.
But you could go rook d2.
Yeah. We've got a couple of ideas. I mean, this is not so clear. Still, I'm still winning your knight. And I could even go queen takes c5, actually. I'm not mated yet. And I'm not sure if you'll manage to mate me. Because if you move the rook away, I'll go rook d1 simply. Your king can't castle either, so...
Knight f2.
Sorry?
Knight f2.
Knight f2. Oh, wait a minute. Where are we? Knight to f2. Okay.
You can check me, maybe.
But if I played a move like b6, for example, just throwing bishop b5 check. I'm not sure. This one's looking a bit risky for black.
Yeah.
But what black has played is probably fairly sensible. He's played castle's king side. That is very sensible. And now just waiting for white to find the next move, which is probably quite sensible.
Kevin saying, how do you take Hastings, Matthew? Well, we've covered this a little bit earlier, which was that Matthew has won Hastings before.
Yeah, let me have a look.
Judith Polgar en route. And I've played Hastings. I got a WIM norm at Hastings way back in what year? Would have been maybe 1990 or something like that. Yeah, I used to play in the Challengers. Is it Challengers? The whatever tournament it was called. When it was on Hastings Pier, and even before that in the Falaise Hall.
Oh my goodness.
Ago. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah. No, it used to be part of my and I've even played it more recently, but normally not the whole thing. I'd normally play like one of the 5-day events or the weekend. But not for a few years. But you've played lots. How many times have you played, Matthew?
Ooh, I played the Premier quite a few times, maybe 5 or something like that. I think I won it in 1997-98. And Stuart shared first twice, actually, I hadn't realised. In 1995-96, that was a really strong year, together with Halifman and Bogdan Lalic. And then he shared in 2000-2001 together with Sashi Kiran, very strong Indian grandmaster. So he's actually a 2-time shared winner of the Hastings Premier. So yeah, it's quite nice. I mean, there's some incredibly famous names in there. You know, looking back along the years. I mean, you're starting. These are the winners from 1920 onwards, but you see Rubinstein, Erva, Alekin, Capablanca, Flor, won it many times, very strong player, Reshevsky, Gligorich, Kerez and Smyslov, Korchnoi, Gligorich and Lars and Botvinnik, you know, Spassky, really all the big names there. Smyslov, Karpov and Korchnoi, 1971-72, they shared first prize there. I mean, and it goes on and on and on, you know. So it's really, really been an incredible tournament somehow. You know,
so it's the 99th tournament this year. So next year will be the big.
Will be the 100th. Yeah, really.
Gligorich won it the most times, Kevin. Yes. Wow.
It's yeah. So this is actually it's a very nasty position for white. I'm trying to find.
Tricky.
Hey, tricky. I'm trying to find a decent move, but it's kind of hard. I mean, Rook A4 felt a little bit sort of sexy, you know, sort of attacking the bishop on B4. Also, you know, vaguely thinking, am I going to be protecting laterally? But there's, I mean,
anything. Oh, it is.
At the very least, there's this move when takes allows knight takes e4.
Yeah, you can't.
And if you go bishop takes f6, saying, haha, I'm going to be covering this one, then we go knight f6, and you say, hoo-hoo, I'm covering this one. So, you know, quite apart from other moves. But, I mean, it's just really, it's really difficult for white.
You want to get that f1 bishop out the way, don't you?
You really do. I just don't know. I mean, it really is a
this is like being white in the King's Gambit. This feels like, but you just can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, castle's kingside, it just makes so many things useful. I mean, here, I mean, even taking with the bishop is fine, but you know, this has got lots of tricks as well. I mean, we can go knight e4 in this position, and after queen e4, I play the move bishop takes d2 check, and if you take there, then I've got this knight c5 check trick as well. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what white can do in this position. To be honest, it's just. I think everywhere you go, it's, you know, here I can go knight e5, for example, and I take there. It's just king f2. I've just got this bishop takes d2 line. You know, takes here, and yeah, bishop f6, knight f6.
So we've had a few more moves.
Yeah, bishop c3 has been played indeed. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at rook takes c3, but black's decided that he can simply take like this, which is probably true as well. This also looks very, very strong indeed. I mean, yeah, it's not really, yeah, this is just really horrible for white. So,
Kevin, have you considered playing Hastings? You're going to be showing up for some of the tournaments. Okay.
This is Attila Kuru against I think his first name
Man-made Chopra.
It's Man-made Chopra, isn't it? His first name is
because there's two Chopras, isn't there? Of the women.
Yeah. So let's look. This was a Scotch knight takes c6 line, and now bishop c5, queen f3, b takes c6. So yeah, it's a quite interesting line somehow. Oh, I've actually played this with white. I don't often play this at all, but isn't this following one of my games against Tanya Sachadev?
Is it?
Very close, anyway. I'm not sure. Maybe I threw an a4, a5 later. I'm not sure, but I certainly. I had a game very similar to this anyway.
Wow.
Quite an eventful game, which was drawn in the end. I was quite fortunate to draw, although I stood quite well, I think, at one point. But she played a lot better than me in the middle game, I have to say. So rook g1.
was born 2007.
2007. Oh God! Oh, he's
18-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, younger than I thought he was a little bit older than that.
No, I think. What's the?
Oh, is it Tamne?
Tamne. I thought
Tamne, that's right. Tamne's older, isn't he? I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is it's a very interesting endgame. This one. I mean, I enjoyed playing it against Tanya, even if I didn't play it particularly well somehow. But it was very interesting positions. It was. Yeah, I mean, you know, whose double pawns are worse, really? I mean, white's kind of look worse in a way. These look, you know, we're very used to these. These are very compact. But in the end game, this a5 pawn, you know, that black has had to move in order to keep his bishop sort of alive, can prove to be a huge target. And actually, white tries to prove that pretty quickly with this move rook g1, weakening the dark squares, bishop d2, and now rook g5. Look at that. And this is actually known. So it's a known exchange sacrifice. So you're just picking up that pawn. You've got the two bishops. There's some weak dark squares here on the king side, and also the pawn on c7 is weak. So king e7 played, which is a novelty, and well, I don't think that black knew this because he's on 50 minutes at that point, and white's on 1 hour and 30. So
wow.
You know, quite interesting.
Yeah.
But bishop c7 played, and now bishop a6. Very sensible is what we said. You know, if your opponent's got the two bishops, then you try and exchange one pair, and you've neutralized his advantage. So, but White's got e5. Interesting idea there. Takes, bishop e5, and rook d8 and a5, and we've reached this very interesting position where White's got two pawns for the exchange, but some double pawns here, which are, you know, obviously less good. And well, the two bishops have been neutralized. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be unhappy to be black here, to be honest. Normally, you know, I'm not really that impressed with what White's got for the exchange, really.
So how far can we get the a pawn up the board as White? Like, could White be looking for knight c5 and a6?
Yeah, I mean, you can probably get it to a7, I would imagine, but I'm not. But once it arrives there, it's maybe quite a way away. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so you go a5. I mean, I'm going to play a move like knight d5 maybe, and start chasing back this bishop somehow, you know. And you're gonna. I mean, I've got this f4 square for the knight as well. I'm not very happy with White's position, I have to say. I think that black has got very good chances here. I don't know. This move e5 seemed a little bit over the top, really.
Okay.
You know, you would have kind of wanted White to sort of hunker down and start, you know, trying to advance his queenside pawns slowly somehow. You know, that would have been my feeling. This felt like something you'd do in with the queens on, but not with the queens off. Put it that way. But I could be wrong, because White's playing incredibly fast here. You know,
or maybe he's still in his lines.
He might still be in his lines there. That's absolutely possible. But certainly we're not in known theory. Rook d5 has been played, not knight d5. Possible, stopping the pawn from advancing. I would have liked to have my knight.
Another youngster, Attila Kuru, 2011.
2011 only. Yeah. I am okay. So he's Hungarian. What is he? No, he's not Hungarian.
Turkey.
He's Turkey. Okay, yeah. Actually, just in the World Rapid, another young Turkish player, Erdogmus, was doing really well. After 11 rounds, he was on board one playing Magnus. So you know, it was really incredible. He unfortunately he lost his last two, so ended outside the the prize winners. But he had an amazing tournament. I mean, he's like 14, 15, and he's like 26-50 or something. So I mean, obviously a big star for the future. I think Turkey's got a number of very strong juniors.
Yeah.
Oh, actually a familiar name for me, Jan Jaap Jansen. Dutch player, and presumably he's there together with another Dutch player who's played Hastings a few times, got his IM title there, Tim Grutte, colleague from Amersfoort. I think Jan Jaap is an Utrecht player, but very experienced player, strong player. Playing against the Ukrainian Grandmaster Alexander Kovchan, who we see a lot in the UK. Not looking great for White, this one. Some sort of double fianchetto system, but yeah, the problem with putting the bishop over on here is that you do lack some support for the light squares, and White's put all the pawns on dark squares here on the queen side, and now he's getting hit, and he's got very little to hold them together. So I'm not quite sure.
What does he even do now about B?
About the B pawn? I think you're going to have to try and work out a creative way of losing that pawn, because I don't think you can hold it at all. I mean, B takes a5, knight a5 is not pleasant. You know, it's a very unpleasant pin there somehow. So I mean, knight a5 will probably go queen b2, and this knight's in all sorts of difficulties.
Like rook b1 now. Oh no, you can't. Oh,
you can't do that. So you're in a lot of trouble there. You know, so knight b3, you'd have bishop c2, for example. So yeah, this is quite unpleasant. I think this last move, bishop b2, was rather incautious. I think bishop d2 or knight c5 would have been sensible, but now I think White's in a bit of trouble there. Simon Williams. Whoa, look at Simon go against Jacob Yoon.
Yes.
Jacob's a sassy senior, isn't he?
He very kindly subbed into my team. I had arranged a team for the Blitz at the Classic, and one of our players, Matthew Turner, broke down on the motorway and waited many hours to get a recovery van, and missed the start. Or actually missed the whole tournament. And Jacob Youn had been playing all along in the Masters, was it called, at the Classic or the Classic Open, and straight after that he very kindly joined our team for the Team Blitz. So he was senior for a day, but he's not a senior, he's really a junior.
Fantastic. Now this is a very sharp game, very sharp variation. Been some famous games from my day in this line. Not seen very much at all nowadays, I have to say. So this is an English opening where white sacrifices a pawn. Kasparov had at least one, sort of typical win in this line. I mean,
of course, Simon Williams is an expert on the English, having written several books and courses on it.
Indeed, and and this is a very nice line indeed for white. Definitely very friendly to play. I mean, white gets the bishop and some weakened dark squares for black in return for a pawn. And we're still very deep into theory. Been a huge number of games here. I mean, I'm looking at the Masters database with 279 games in this, so you can imagine. Not that many recent ones, to be honest. I'm seeing Ding Liren against Rajabov as the latest one, which I remember well, actually, because that was a game in which Ding Liren later played h4, h5, h6. And he said he was inspired by AlphaZero.
Yes,
so that was very nice. But bishop b6, and it looks like you're trapping the queen, but black has the move knight f5, and then vast amounts of energy have been spent in trying to determine whether queen c5 or queen b4 is better. Simon plays queen c5, d6, queen a5, and now again some choices from black: queen e7 or queen d7. Queen d7 played. Actually, both players at this point whipping the moves out.
Yeah.
So very impressed that I'm not surprised that Simon knew it, because in our generation, and Simon he's younger than me, but he's kind of I sort of see him more as my generation than Jacob's anyway. But this was quite well known somehow. You saw Kasparov playing it and all of that, but hasn't been very common. So I'm quite interested to see that Jacob is playing this so quickly as well.
But perhaps he has Simon's course and looked up.
You never know. Actually, Simon played an unusual move here. I mean, f4 has been quite normal here, but castle queenside was played by Simon. And now, no, Jacob still whipped out. Simon thought a little bit of time over it, but Simon whipped out queen c6 here. Yeah. And now Simon played the move c5, which in the Masters database has 100% score. But I'm fearing
took a little bit of time over that one, so maybe this is where his he was remembering his theory, or his theory stops there.
It has 100% score, but 100% score for black. Unfortunately, with reasonably matched players, I have to say.
I thought you were talking 100% for white there.
No, 100% for black. So so two moves have been played: king f7 and knight d7, and Jacob played knight d7. Took not all that much time over it. 15 minutes, and Simon's definitely down on time here because he's down to 29 minutes now. After
so what's the story? The white king's a little bit open because of being
not really. It's just this setup here is rather tricky. I mean, black's ready to castle. That's one of the problems, and d takes c5 is also possible when the bishop is going to be, and the bishop's close to loss, right? I mean, if I go dc5, you go bishop c7, I go b6, and then the bishop is lost. So there's this white's got to achieve something right now, otherwise he's going to be in a bit of trouble. But Simon's played bishop e2, So let's have a look how this works.
So
This
he's
move has never been
F3.
played ever before.
Yeah.
So I think what we're looking at now, we're looking to see the move d takes c5 and to see what Simon's got in store for us.
Because if you do attack the queen now, just queen b6, and that's...
Yeah, I mean, queen b6 is the big threat. So what are we going to do? Well, I mean, bishop b5 is possible here.
Right, because then you can't go...
Well, queen b6, you'll have queen b6, that's right.
But you could go a takes b5.
Well, that is the big problem, and it's a bit of a disaster for white because we take with a knight on b6. So that would be terrible. That would not be good. So what else could white do?
Take on d7 with the rook.
Yeah, this is.
But you can take back with the queen, can't you?
Well, no. If you take back with the queen, we'll go rook d1. That looks very risky because knight d4, maybe a move like queen c5 or something. You know, knight e2 I take, and I'm going to have rook d8 at the end. So you wouldn't want to do that. But what you could do is to take with a bishop on d7. And now, well, the question is, what can white do here? I mean, bishop b5 seems vaguely tempting, you know, because you're thinking takes here. But I mean, actually, even just to play safe, I could go queen c8, and actually after bishop b5, I think I could probably just take on g2 here, and I don't think
lots questioning why castles, but castles long by white.
Yeah, that was not a very normal move. Castles long. That's f4 is the way that white normally plays it. And then I think it's knight c6, queen a3. I'm looking at a game Kasparov Belyavsky. I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm remembering.
Oh yeah.
And then white goes castles eventually in g4, but by getting the knight onto c6, this bishop becomes very safe. You know, Black's got decent play. It's supposed to be okay for black, but you know, Gary made a very good job of it, of course, with white and initiative and two bishops and everything. And in general, I think, you know, the assumption has always been that that's rather difficult. But castles has not been played very often, and I think that it was that this was, in general, I would say that this was a mistake. So I think that Simon's probably trying now to. You know, to try and work out a way to keep himself in the game. To be honest, and I think it's that serious for white. So,
what if knight in? Is that possible? To knight to b5.
Knight to b5. Well, I could again just take on here. I mean, bishop b5. I take bishop c6. I mean, I could take on there, but I can just take on a2. You've got no threat simply. You know. So this is really worrying for Simon. I think I really am worried for him. I'm not quite sure what he's gonna come up with here. I mean, you could play knight a4. That is possible.
Yeah.
But I think. I mean, there's moves, right? I mean, knight d4 is quite sensible. It might even be the best, just trying to sort of dominate that bishop. But I mean, even if I went just castles, I'm not really seeing any. Because I mean, bishop f3, I go queen b5 simply, you know, and I'm just sort of getting out of it. And the most that white will ever have is some sort of, you know, pressure to keep the black pieces down. But it's not really worth, you know, 2 pawns is a lot really for that. So I'm not sure. I think after d takes c5, unless I'm missing something, you know, I think Simon's really got some big problems here. I think he's misremembered his lines there, you know, and I think this is kind of difficult now. It's just like you've got stuck in the mire somehow. Your pieces have got stuck in the mud of black's position, and it's just not really clear what you can do.
The bishop on b6, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just that was the value of f4. It sort of pushes the knight away so that bishop remains safe, and castle just lets that bishop get targeted there. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really, but I think that d takes c5 is really going to be quite worrying. Maybe knight a4 for white is the best attempt. Or maybe Simon's got something brilliant that he's.
Simon sometimes does. He has these clever.
Oh, he does. No. I mean, in terms of brilliant
unexpected,
moves,
sacks his queen and.
Yeah. In terms of brilliant moves, there's nobody better than Simon. So, but yeah, for me, it's really not obvious what he's got in this posiin.
But he might have just forgotten his move order, and that's easy enough to do, isn't it?
That's so easy to do nowadays. I mean, it's just. I mean, something that there is. You could try something like. I'm wondering maybe it would be a good idea to throw in check, and then something like this, for example.
Yeah.
Bishop d7, bishop f3. You go queen d6. I mean, you could do something like this.
Yeah.
This sort of checks and everything. That's if only if you had a pawn on g3, it might even be. It might be. I mean, you could go a move like rook d1, queen f4, king b1. But it's kind of it's really on the desperate side. This, and but it could turn dangerous. It's the sort of thing that Simon might play. I mean,
so white is at least threatening that pawn on c5 now, and the bishop's not trapped anymore.
That's right, and I'm not quite sure whether to throw in this bishop h5 or not. The f6 pawn is weakened, which makes this, more powerful. On the other hand, I don't have a check later, so I'm not quite sure. But something like this, I would think would be, what would be something that I could imagine Simon going for somehow, So maybe this is maybe something like this, and then rook d7 and. Bishop f3 and then a move, maybe rook d1. You'd want to stop the white king from castling somehow. I mean, this move bishop b7 is also not completely impossible. With the idea of rook b8, I've got bishop c7, which is suddenly unpleasant. But black could also just castle at the very least and do this and sort of stand fine without any problems. But maybe something like this then. D takes c5 and then we go bishop h5 check. I like throwing this one in. Rook d7, bishop d7, and then bishop f3. Now I think queen d6 is probably more or less what you have to do. Not sure. Queen c8 might be possible, but queen d6 and then. Well, okay. I mean, let's have a look. I mean, is there anything for black here that's better than just returning all the pawns? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just being too pessimistic there. Because this rook b8, bishop c7 is really quite sneaky, but it does actually seem to be quite good. Ooh, I think I've lost Natasha. Yeah, hey, Natasha. Back. Are you back? It's yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is something like this then. It's on the limit, but it's very Simon, of course. So that's the good news. Yeah. Okay, and bishop f3 now. I'm wondering about throwing in g6, but I do like weakening these dark squares a bit more. So I mean, queen c8 is kind of interesting as well. But you wonder whether, I could go knight e4. I'm throwing knight f6, which is why I like it. King f7, and then maybe queen c3. Because knight d4, I've got knight d6.
Oh, wow.
So you go e5, and then I'm sort of thinking, what would Simon do? And I'm thinking knight f6 or something, it's...
Okay, so there's play.
There's play. So I think something like that is what Simon's doing. It's very committal right from an early stage, which is, you say that's not necessarily you know, the typical professional technique against weaker players somehow. But I mean, Simon is just Simon. He just does these things. So yeah, I mean, I definitely understand why Jacob is thinking, because obviously you're thinking, what has Simon got in store for me? And it could be anything. So yeah, really interesting. No, interesting. So okay, that's quite good. Should we have a look at just hop a little bit further?
Yes.
We got Danny Gormally.
Oh yes, let's see Danny.
Danny Gormally here. So this is was some sort of semi-Slav. Yeah, that's right. So oh no, it was well, sort of. Danny played. So this is a Ragozin system. You know the Ragozin, don't you?
Yes, I learnt it. But I haven't really played it. Maybe only like once or twice.
It was it was the video where the guy said that that you're always worse somehow, but it's never that bad. I think
that's right. You can get the moves wrong, but you'll only be a little bit worse.
Yeah, it's a very solid opening. AlphaZero's choice, and I think also it varies, but generally the choice of most modern engines as well as the best system against the QGD. But yeah, I mean, bishop f6 is the if you play the 5 bishop g5 line, bishop f6 is the normal way of playing. Many AlphaZero against Stockfish games, most of which ended in, or Stockfish 8 against AlphaZero games, which ended in draws. It's that solid. But Danny decides to play, in principle, a not very good pawn sacrifice. It's quite typical there for these lines, but in general, Black's kind of very comfortable. Gets his pieces set up quite comfortably, but yeah, you just play this typical position where Black's got this extra pawn on c4, and White's got the possibility to advance on the king side, and you just claim it's going to be interesting. So queen c7, bishop g3, queen b6, knight d2, rook e8, bishop f3, knight d5, all quite typical moves, really. Yeah, it's sort of vaguely. Yeah, I mean, both sides are sort of playing around and all of that. Knight 7 b6 is a slightly surprising move to me.
Take on b5.
Yeah, there's a number of things. Knight 7 b6 it's a funny move, really. I think you're trying to provoke White to resolve the tension here.
Because you could take on b5 and then go knight d6 and then take on b5 with the knight.
That is a very sneaky move, Natasha.
And then it's all pinned and everything.
Well, it's more than all pinned. I mean, if you were to go here, you'd go here, and then the queen's actually trapped.
No,
because
at all.
So that would be horrible. But there are possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, you could point out this one as well. Just
there is that one,
but I'm not 100% convinced that that's very good. No. Yeah. I mean, the rook's very powerful, and the king's it would probably not be very good at all.
Yeah, but with the knight, it looks quite good to me.
Takes and the knight looks very good. So I guess what Black would probably do, have to do, is to play a move like bishop c6. I mean, knight a4 vaguely occurs to you as an exchange sacrifice. You sort of think, wouldn't it be nice to line up on here? The only thing is that there's a slightly embarrassing rook takes a4, when takes is another way to to get your queen trapped. So probably the best line would be to play bishop c6 there, and well, White can decide can take on the 8 straight away, or he can maybe throw in e4 first. But I think White's definitely happy with this turn of events. Probably quite important that you manage to chase away this knight, so it's no longer pressuring here. And I mean, Black has some compensation always, for the exchange, but in principle, White's doing quite well with the 2 bishops there.
Yeah,
you probably want to try and get maybe a pawn to f3, and support the e4 pawn, and then just gradually try and line up. On the Black queen side. It's not easy. I mean, the knight can come to a4, could decide whether, it's not easy to get rid of these black pieces, but in principle, it looks like Danny's managed to make something of this opening. I mean, another idea would be to play the move knight c5, actually. You stop knight takes a4 and you're threatening e4, and the knight can't come back to d7. I mean, that could also be quite awkward for black, I have to say. You just keep the pieces passive. I mean, e4's coming in, and then the bishop can do some nasty stuff. That might not be so bad either, to be honest. I definitely have a think about that rather than grabbing the material. But I mean, yeah, actually, sorry, I was just about to say that maybe another very good idea is to play knight d6 without taking on b5 first.
Yeah.
Because you can't go knight takes a4 because I've got this rook a4.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to, we're not saying yet what we're going to do. We might just go a5 and then take the exchange, or we're threatening a takes b5. You don't have bishop c6. Yeah, this is even stronger, of course. This is way stronger. So yeah, this is horrible for black. So it looks like Danny's doing having a good start to his tournament there.
Let's see Stanley.
Let's see Stanley. Yeah, I was going to say. Oh, interesting. This is an exchange Slav. It was indeed. So Stanley playing a d4 c4, not his Jabava London system, but he's been broadening out a lot more recently, and playing this exchange Slav. It's the engine's favorite, the exchange Slav against the Slav. We think it's as promising as anything else. So bishop e2, subtle little move order. If you go knight f3, then black plays the bishop to g4 in one go. So here you play the bishop to e2, and only play the knight to f3 when black's gone bishop f5. And the exchange Slav is just replete with these sort of subtleties. So knight h5 played by black, and this is quite well known. If you go queen takes b7, we'll go knight a5. You've only got c7 as a square, and then we'll take on f4. And this is not going to be great for white. I mean, if you take on f4, we'll probably go bishop d6, I guess, and the queen's way away from the queen side, which is going to get attacked quite nastily. And obviously, if you swap off queens, then I don't know, rook d8 or king d8. I'd rather go king d8, I think, wouldn't I? And yeah, I mean, you've got ruined pawns. Black's got the two bishops, pressure on the B and C files. It's going to be quite pleasant for black, I guess. So bishop e5 played by Stanley, and then black does the old standard shuffle a Rooney on the queen side, offering a draw by repetition. But well, white takes the opportunity to play h3, gives the bishop a retreat square, and also threatens g4. But okay, black goes knight f6, castles, bishop e7, and what you're claiming is with this knight a5 maneuver and knight h5, you've managed to neutralize white's rapid pressure against the pawn, but you've gone a little bit behind in development. So rook fc1, castles, and bishop g3, and yeah, I mean, this is one of those positions where white's just a tiny little bit ahead in development in one of these symmetrical positions, and the question is whether you can make something of it or not. I mean, Mark, not exactly this line of it, but he used to play the exchange Slav as well in certain lines, and yeah, made a very good living from from grinding people down without any risk at all. So queen b6 played by black. We're still following known theory in the Masters database. Couple of games between IMs, it looks like, so pretty good. Knight to h4. So white's trying to get something out of his activity, and that something is going to be the light squared bishops. We're still following known theory. I think both players were whipping these moves out. So I mean, it's quite impressive, really, isn't it? I mean, that's really I'd say the power of all the AI tools and the databases and the the courses, the chessable move trainers and everything, because you've got a player rated 2072. No disrespect then by saying that, but in the old days, in my professional days, you know, there was an enormous knowledge gap, you know, between you'd say a grandmaster and players of this strength, whereas now in openings that's not necessarily the case at all, you know, and you're seeing you know, players you know, with a rating of 2072, you know, whipping out openings, you know, to a very high level of expertise, you know, just like that. So and I mean, Black here spent 8 minutes over this move, so I guess that this is kind of probably where the knowledge is starting to fade. But we're already on move 17 with a very decent position for Black, you know. So yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, compared
Stanley
to
plays pretty quickly, which whether
Stanley
he
plays
knows
pretty quickly as well. Yeah, yeah.
theory or not, and he won't mind. Like he won't mind if it goes to kind of an end game, and he can just kind of play positionally and shuffle about.
Yeah, no, he's good at
That's what
all
he likes.
types of chess, really. I mean, it's quite an interesting position. I mean, White now is going to claim, you know, in terms of modern chess, I've got my little edge. I've got the bishop pair, and a little bit of, and actually he goes further and he gets both bishops. So now he's got a 2 bishops against 2 knights position. So that's what White's claiming from the opening. Black's saying, well, you know, I played quite nice and quickly, and I've got a solid position, you know. So and now the fight begins. But again, you know, it's just to I just mention it several times just because it does amaze me, you know, when I compare it to my professional time. But essentially the game is on move 23, and now the game is really starting because now both players are out of their theory. You know, it's quite impressive. But I think in general Stanley will be reasonably happy with the position. You've got the 2 bishops versus 2
also
knights.
know Stuart White. I think he's an Edinburgh Chess Club member.
Oh, right, okay.
And I did a talk at Edinburgh.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
It's a lovely place, Edinburgh, isn't it? It's really really lovely.
Really nice. Yeah.
So I think Jerome, my brother, is going to do the Edinburgh Park Run. I think he's planning on, or has he even done it? I'm not sure.
Nice.
He was definitely talking about it a lot.
Yeah, no, Edinburgh's really nice. Yeah.
So Queen B3. So Black took on C3 here, which I'm not sure about. Stanley played I think a nice decision here. At least it's a very ambitious decision. B takes C3. The idea of it is to unbalance the pawn structure, and of course, you know, you're going to get you're basically trying to dilute the black center. You'll take on D5 if he wants to maintain a pawn presence on D5. He's going to have to accept an isolated pawn, and then you can play E4 and get rid of all the black presence in the center, and then your 2 bishops are going to be mighty. So it's a very ambitious move from Stanley. B takes C3. Stuart plays B5, trying to clamp down on it, stop that. And now Stanley's playing A4. So, I mean, I think you'd say that the drama of the game is happening now. You know, there's this big fight for Stanley to get his bishops into the game, really active, and Black is trying to stop it with for the 2 knights. You know, but I'm not.
Andy B, I guess that's Andy Burnett, says Stuart's a good solid player and plays 4 NCL for Alba.
Oh, for Alba. Okay, yeah, that's the Scottish team, indeed, isn't it? It's yeah. So this is a very interesting moment now, and yeah, the question is, what can Black do here? I mean, in general, I'm quite liking the bishops. I mean, this bishop is incredibly annoying, cutting across here. So I would think that the first move that Black would really want to play is knight F5 to kick that bishop back off the diagonal, because if bishop F4, I'll go G5. You can't maintain it, so that bishop will have to go passive to F2.
Yeah,
abandon that. And now what I would be thinking of would be, normally speaking, a move like knight D6. That's what
yeah, because otherwise White can go E4 and open up the bishop again. But you're cutting it out with that.
Now I'm cutting it out and I'm defending this. So if you go bishop G3, I just come back with knight F5. So that's not wanted. So, but White's there's a few different ways of playing now. I mean, G4 is not stupid, with an idea of playing bishop G3, and Black's got to work out what to do about that. I mean, A takes B5 is not crazy. because you could sort of aim for a b5, rook a8, queen a8, and bishop b5.
Okay.
I wouldn't normally recommend a move like this, but I am actually, of course, I am winning a pawn, and I'm not quite sure whether black is able to get it back. Because obviously, when you take on take, I mean, you can't take it back like this because I've got queen takes d7 there.
Yeah.
The only question is here whether you could do something like takes and then somehow get your knight onto a nice solid square. Because of course, with all the pawns on one side, the knight's going to be a pretty good defender somehow. I mean, you can maybe play queen c8, then you're hoping to somehow get knight b6 and c4, but it won't be easy for you to do that. Won't be easy. So I don't quite know. I mean, you could play knight b6. That's possible, but I'm not quite sure about having both knights on there because, when white goes moves like e4, eventually one knight's going to get into trouble a bit. And having the two bishops feels like quite a big power. I mean, I'd love to. I mean, taking and going maybe queen c8 or something like that does not look like a bad thing. I wouldn't have thought that white would be objectively lost in this position. The black would be objectively lost in this position. I think, despite being a pawn down, I think he'd probably be worse. I think, but not. So I'm not quite sure whether white should even do that somehow. It might be nicer to keep the pressure and just try and nibble away at the black knights in a different way with here and here, or maybe even bishop d3, looking for e4. That might be better somehow. Complicated position, I think. Complicated position. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of your opponent's been very well prepared. I think this is about what you can expect somehow. From that point of view, you've got an unbalanced position, a big fight going on at the moment, and see what happens. So. Yeah, we'll see how what Stanley makes of that. Of course, the one thing that you can say is that, as you'd expect, Stanley is ahead on time.
He's ahead on time, and he'll play all day if needed.
Yeah, it's never going to be easy against Stanley.
Let's see the next one as well. Rakaya against Kobe.
Oh, good Lord. What on earth is this one? So how has this taken place? So this was a Sicilian. And then a very early queen b6. So a good way to try and get the opponent out of book, out of known lines. I think that Kobe plays these queen b6 systems a lot. That's what I've got in my head anyway, but I may be wrong. So white plays knight b3. I mean, the point of these systems very often is that in a way, black's wasting a tempo. He'll go queen to c7 at some later stage because the bishop will come to e3. And you say, well, what does white achieve? But the key point is that the knight on b3 is no longer aiming for the king side. So you're not going to have to worry about sacrifices on e6 or f5. And it's said that the Hungarian player Paul Benko came up with this idea of queen b6 in a slightly different line when he was playing against Tal. He said, if I chase the knight over to b3, at least Tal won't be able to sacrifice it on the king's side. That was the idea. But actually, after knight f6, Rakaya played bishop d3, which is quite interesting. But Kobe went for the very, very principled d5.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, white hasn't played knight c3, so you're playing d5. But obviously, there's some pieces loose in the position. Knight on d5, queen on b6 that can be attacked. So, yeah, quite interesting. Castles.
Yeah, get that king out of the way, and then you can maybe get tactics.
Yeah. Now, I mean, my natural reaction would be to either play e6 or maybe tempt g6 if I'm feeling lucky. But Kobe played the very, very unusual bishop e6.
Unusual because you're blocking in your own.
Yeah, it's been played on Lichess, as most things have. But It's not in the Masters database anyway. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's protecting the knight on d5, preparing presumably to get the rook over to d8, and thinking of going g6 and bishop g7. But it's quite a specific move somehow. And well, Ruqayyah plays quite aggressively in return. Queen e2, rook d8, and now c4.
C4. I was thinking c4, yeah. To force the knight away, and then you maybe get another tempo with bishop e3.
Well, actually, she's gone for a c5 even.
Okay.
Quite interesting. Queen c7, and now bishop b5. So, yeah, I mean, there's, yeah.
Oh, if a3, knight on b3 is loose, so you don't want
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of weird factors in this position. It's a very unusual position. I mean, again, I would really be thinking about playing g6, and I'm not quite sure what would be against doing that. There's a few things you've got to watch out for. I mean, if I go a3, it's not a silly move. I mean, if you go knight d5, I could play the move knight d4, which looks inconvenient, though I'm not quite sure whether bishop d7 is particularly bad for black. Bishop b3 ab is not very clear because I'm threatening rook a7 here, for example. But you could, of course, play a6. But I mean, there's moves. Then there's stuff like, you know, bishop f4, queen f4, rook a6 takes bishop c6. You know, it's a wild, non-standard position here. You know, it's just very hard to be sure about it. What Kobe did anyway was go a6, and Ruqayyah played bishop a4, so keeping that pin, and also very much thinking about a3 now because the bishop, the knight on b3 is defended. But Kobe sort of switched angle and played bishop f5, queen f3 hitting, bishop d3 hitting the rook on f1, bishop f4 hitting the queen. Kobe played the queen to c8. I mean, even e5 would not have been impossble here.
Now, Ruqayyah has attended one of my trainings on Zwischenzug, so we would expect her to do any number of intermediate moves in this position.
Queen c8, and now the rook went to e1 there. C1 rather. So yeah, now well, this is a bit bananas really. So I suppose what I'm wondering about is the move knight c2, and I'm pretty sure this is Kobe would be thinking about that. The only interesting question is whether we have the move knight a5 in this position.
There's a lot going on here, right? So if black takes on a1, we're taking on c6.
Yeah, which looks disastrous for black, really. I mean, I can't imagine that this would be
because if you interpret, so if you take and then bishop takes and then rook d7.
Yeah, this looks horrific.
The other knight as well.
I'll go c6 even in this position. And
look at that c pawn. That's amazing.
C pawn is going all the way. So no, this is a total disaster. So knight c2, I don't think you could really do. I mean, you could go knight d4 after that is, but then you've got queen d3. Sorry, that was why it wasn't possible. So yeah. So no, this is not good.
So okay, so black has to find a better move than that.
Black has to find indeed a better move than that.
Black might start trying. What's what it might start? Black might start trying to get the bishop out by.
Well, I think that Kobe's going to play g5.
G5, okay.
That's my move. I mean, that's only based purely on the way that he's played so far. You know, he's not going for the simple ways, and it might not be a bad move somehow.
So, say you drop the bishop back to d2 because it hits the knight on.
Ooh, that's very sneaky. God, that's sneaky. What are we going to do? Well, we've got a slight problem with this guy as well. I mean, we could play moves like bishop b5, of course, but it feels kind of wrong, doesn't it? Really
feels like bishop c3 after that, maybe.
Maybe I throw in g4 just to see what you're going to do.
Okay. Well, I haven't decided yet.
But it all feels so random somehow, yeah? I mean, it really does feel incredibly
I
random.
feel like white's more.
Yeah.
I
mean,
white's
Kobe's
more than
really.
black somehow.
I mean,
More.
Kobe's really pushing it with the with very specific moves. He's really he's really going. This is all calculation somehow, right? And
Yeah.
not much positional play. So,
What if he just goes e6?
yeah, if he goes e6, well, what are we going to do here? I mean,
a3 is that right? Knight c3, yeah.
Knight c3 is quite tempting here. Okay, let's just try and play sensibly. Let's claim that
Yes, I think sensible is the thing to do.
We suddenly decided to be sensible. So, I mean, the key thing is the move a3. That's always the key idea. So, but now we could maybe play knight d5. Because I mean, I think still that if we go knight c2, then knight a5 is really unpleasant here, and then. Well, I mean, I could maybe just take on b7 is simplest. Queen b7, I've got takes. And I've got rook a1 coming in as well. I mean, that's just horrible. That's really very ugly. So you could go knight d5. And your big saving grace here is that if queen there, you can take on f4. So the fact that the bishop is hanging on f4 is really nice. But I mean, there's other things I'm rather worried about. I mean, knight d5, rook d5 is kind of nasty. It's kind of holding it together for now. But I mean, maybe bishop d6 could be very unpleasant. I mean, I'm threatening queen takes d3 now. And I mean, if you go knight c3, I'll go rook c3. I mean, I suppose maybe you could play this sort of move. Maybe it's not as bad as you think. I kind of feel it should be really bad, but somehow maybe it feels like it should be bad, but maybe Kobe's got it all, kind of worked out, and got enough resources to hold it all together. I mean, White's pieces are a little bit, they're not quite coordinating, coming together yet, but still. But e6, knight c3, bishop e7. Yeah, I mean, knight e5, you do simply castle here, and you probably are going to be okay. And if I go knight c3, bishop e7, a3, knight d5, yeah, you're kind of holding it all together.
What if instead of a3, is there any mileage in queen g3, trying to just slow down the castling?
But if I castle anyway,
yeah.
And bishop h6, there's bishop f6 there, so
there's nothing too much. Okay. Fair enough.
Not easy. Not easy, this. It looks so risky for black. Well, it is risky for black, but it looks like I'm sort of having the vague feeling that Kobe has managed to keep himself
away with it.
But could I go? What if I went knight c3, bishop e7, and now went bishop d6?
Yeah.
I'm just aiming for a3 now, when you've got no chance to play the move bishop b5. I mean, would that be interesting? If you go bishop d6, takes rook d6, I just go a3 simply. That's the idea. Knight c2. No. Well, you're vaguely surviving still. Okay, maybe I go knight c5 or something like that. Threatening a3. Oops, sorry. Threatening a3 now. God, this is risky. It's so risky, this. I mean, you could just be losing a piece. That's the problem somehow. But you might be escaping. I don't know, but it's a big, yeah. Again, I'd be looking for something dramatic like g5 just to try and get your pieces in quickly somehow. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether that's any good at all. But it's a wild game, absolutely wild game, this one.
Yeah, and we've seen Rakaya beat title players before.
Absolutely, yeah. No, she's dangerous.
Yeah,
She's very dangerous. So
I think she beat Hebbs and drew with Peter Wells in consecutive games one time, a couple of years ago.
Should we have a look at Kenneth Hobson, one of our title Tuesdays?
Against Zane Patel, both junior players.
Indeed, and Kenneth will feature on. Is it this coming Tuesday?
Kenneth will be. What are we now? Sunday. In 2 days' time, look out for Kenneth on Talented Tuesday.
Really stunning Sicilian game. So really good one. So with some really unusual moves and some nice opening novelties.
Surprises in the middle, yes.
Yeah, so do take a look at that. Here we've got some interesting stuff here. So A3, so an Italian game with A3. How many games are there in the Lichess database? 912,000. So
oh my goodness, that's a lot.
So there's quite a few. In the Masters database, there's 15 only. So yeah, now I think it shows this is something that people just play a lot somehow when they're playing Blitz somehow. But so this is quite an interesting idea, though. Basically keeping this bishop safe, then swapping this one off, and opinions are divided about whether you should take on E3 or not. I've always found it a little bit. I think I've got a couple of classic games in my head, and I sort of feel that that's not really the right thing to do. But it does seem to work out pretty okay for Black a lot of the times. So Kenneth played something quite interesting here. Normally you play the move Knight C3 just to stop Black from playing D5, but he played Knight BD2, and Zane indeed took the opportunity. But Kenneth was definitely teeing up in this game. He played H4, looking for something like Knight G5, and indeed after Bishop E6, very natural to neutralize a piece that's looking towards the king. Kenneth played Knight G5, and after Queen D7, he went for the old queenside castling. So this is looking pretty exciting. So Knight D5, Knight E4 from Kenneth, and now F5 from Zane. Yeah, interesting choice now from Kenneth, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
there is a good move, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's not really a threat of take C4, but it is quite annoying that the knight is on prise. That's the problem. It's not really clear exactly what you're going to do. There's some vague thoughts about going Knight C5 and maybe Knight E6, but I guess probably the knights are just going ahead without really having much support. So what Kenneth decided to do was, you call it the kind of positional approach. He went C4, Knight F6, and Knight C3. So just just grabbing some space in the center. Maybe also making his king a little bit, making it maybe a little bit harder for Black to expand on the queen side, although also making it maybe more tempting for Black to sack a pawn and attack. And Zane doesn't want to sack a pawn. He just went Rook A B8, and he's aiming for B5. I think in general the position's kind of even, I guess. Quite sharp, very, very unclear. I'm not really sure what. I think you say that Zane sort of kept it together quite nicely, because Kenneth's been sort of playing around, trying to shake the Black position a bit, and Zane's played very very sensibly, I think, and has got quite decent chances here with Black. B5's coming in, and B4 afterwards. It's just a little bit slightly worrying for White. So and there's no real G4 threats or whatever. So I think Black's probably doing quite decently in this position. Is there anyone else that you want to see? Do we have any more of our Talented Tuesdays?
Should we look at Oleg Verbitsky on 28?
Oh, let's have a look at Oleg.
And Luke Freeman.
Against Luke Freeman. So, we've got quite far. Was this some sort of Benko or something? I'm just trying to guess a little bit. No, it was a Bishop B5 Czech Sicilian. So Oleg here, pawn up, knight versus bishop on the same side. So in principle, a decent piece there. Not going to be easy to convert this one, but obviously black is for choice here. And yeah, I mean, you just try and come slowly, activate your pieces gradually, and gradually move your pawns up, you know, and just try and squeeze. That's what you've got to do. At some stage, I mean, black would probably very much like to play e5, bring the king to e6 and play d5, just or maybe play f5, you know, start putting pressure on. Just use the pawn structure both to restrict the white minor piece, try and put some pressure. So restrict the minor piece, that would be e5 when you can do it. And then try and put pressure on the white pawn structure and try and get it so that you can create a passed pawn in some way. Ideally, you know, e takes f5, gf5, and then the d pawn is passed. Not a nice position for white to defend there. Alana Ashton, you've played Alana,
Yes.
haven't you?
No, I played her mum.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Alana's the daughter of
Adam Ashton.
Adam,
okay, yeah. Ashton.
Oh, yeah, of Adam, who used to be the finance director for the ECF.
Oh, right, okay. It's I played him a long time ago in the 4NCL, so I'm getting old.
Alana's been doing very well, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting very old actually, because I've told this story before, but I'll repeat it again. It's that I was playing Adam, and I was going to play him that afternoon in the 4NCL, and you know, I'd prepared all morning, and I was getting ready to have a quick breakfast and then prepare for some more, and I saw that he was busy sort of doing all the breakfast for his two little daughters and looking after them and all of that, and you sort of realize there is a difference, you know, between between somebody without those responsibilities and somebody who plays chess, you know, also having to do all that. I was so incredibly patient with them, and then I actually had a very long game against him for about 65, 70 moves, you know, and oh my goodness, and then he'll have to look after his daughters as well in the evening together with his wife, you know. It's really I felt a little bit sorry for him that time, but yeah, this black's got quite a nice attacking structure here, I have to say. Isolated queen's pawn, but this pawn on f5 solidifying this knight on e4, knight on a4 a little bit out of it. Feels like rooks might be able to come over to the third rank, so it feels like a nice attacking position for black, and black currently thinking. Yeah. Sorry, white currently thinking at the moment, but yeah, just need to be a little bit careful. But the one really good thing in the white position is this bishop on d4, which is kind of blocking the pawn and also holding f2. So that's a big strength there. But need to work out, yeah, maybe move like b4 or something, trying to get in knight c5 would be nice to try and get back at white at black somehow and put a bit of pressure on the position. All right, well, maybe we'll head back to the top board.
Yeah,
have a little look here. This is
for Harry. Yeah,
this has not gone so well somehow. So we left it actually in the early opening. Let's have a little look at that. Oh, actually, so after bishop b2, Pierre Laurent Pauli played c5. Actually, I should have guessed that, because I remember from last year that he's a super active player. He really tries to be active as quickly as possible, and he certainly went for it here. Bishop b2, slightly unusual, and just opening up the center straight away. a3, knight takes c5, little intermezzo there. Queen e2, takes, and knight f5. And yeah, black's got nice pressure against the white position there. Knight's attacking b3, queen along here, knight's aiming for that, and well, something's going to come along the c file and the d files most likely, and white hasn't really got a good way of getting out the black position. So rook h3 was played, quite a clever move defending here, and after castles, Harry sort of exchanged off the queens there. but we still got some little problems there. Really, this knight's very, very nice, but hard to chase it away. Comes to a4, and obviously black's gonna either bring a rook to the d file or to the c file. So still quite a tricky position for white to defend there. So played rook c1, king moved out of the way, knight to c4, rook to d8, rook to c2, and now knight to d3 has happened here. And yeah, what's black looking for? Well, knight f4 check is the first big threat there. And that's actually not very easy to deal with. The point is, you don't particularly want to play g3, because then your rook on h3 will lose all its influence on the board, and actually probably a move like knight c5 will be quite painful, hitting the pawn on b3. Rook f3 is not impossible, because after knight h4 you'd have rook f7, so it's not, but you have to calculate knight g2. When we're going to start getting some rather unpleasant threats against the white king now. So unless white's got some ways of attacking back somehow, it could turn out very nasty. I mean, knight d6 is not crazy, I suppose. I don't know. That would be quite risky. What Harry has done, I was wondering about bishop c1 as well, but that would open up, give the d4 square away. Harry has played rook h1, which feels, which is obviously,
he wants to play g3, doesn't he? So he wants to get his rook.
He wants to play g3, so he's getting his rook back already. And yeah, this is quite risky, obviously. But the question is whether black's got a way to exploit this. Obviously, if you played knight c5, I guess Harry would go just back to h3 there somehow. So that would be that's the idea. I mean, black's got obviously black is the one who's doing all the pressing, but obviously got to find some sort of concrete way of playing this. Having a bit of a crazy idea, really. Wondering. Yeah, I mean, does it work? It doesn't really work. I don't think. No. I was wondering about playing b5, and the idea is to go knight a5, knight f2. Because after king f2, I go rook d2 check. Takes, and yeah, this is just
could you throw in knight c6?
Yeah, it's really annoying actually. I go knight c6 check, and then I mean I
king b7 because it'd be check. Yeah,
it would be check, so I want to go there, but after here it's the old threatening mate trick here.
Oh, lovely. That's
so so that doesn't work at all for black. So that's rather well, that's rather good news for white. It is quite interesting. I mean, you could play a move like b5, and then you sort of think, could I do something here with the king? It feels also dangerous, but well, the white king's going to escape there. There's no way to catch him. No way to catch him for the moment. So you can't do anything like that.
Is that right? Carry on. To go back. Sorry. Rook d4.
Well, we're covering that square with the bishop, so you're going to lose.
It all worked out.
Yeah, otherwise it would work out beautifully, of course. But yeah, no, it's that bishop on b2 is kind of causing the problem. I
just wanted to say that quite a few of these juniors would have been coached by Jonathan Hawkins. So certainly Stanley, and I think probably Harry Bryant as well, but quite a few, definitely Stanley. And so yeah, let's follow them. Hope they do well this tournament. But it's really sad news about Jonathan.
Yeah.
And so we're wishing, wishing well to his wife, Angela, who I've known for years, actually. I used to play her as a junior. Lovely, lovely woman. And Jonathan and his family and all the kids that are coached by him. Just thinking of everybody who knew Jonathan at the time.
Yeah, yeah. No, he was incredibly young. I mean, 42, and such a good player as well, and very good writer, and yeah, I mean, an awful lot of beautiful tributes about coaching, about what a lovely coach he was as well. So yeah, I mean, really tragic news, and yeah, really very shocking indeed. And yeah, best thoughts to his family, and yeah, and to just terrible these things. So you wonder how these things can happen, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm just looking at maybe one good idea for black here would be to play the move knight f4 check and then knight g6.
H4.
We're hitting h4. We're also threatening rook b3 takes b3.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does feel like somehow at the moment, black's really getting just very stretched here somehow. It's white's getting very stretched rather. So it's going to be a very difficult position for white to hold. But yeah. Yeah, this is just going to be very difficult indeed. So we'll see. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that ended quickly. Oh, this was the game where both sides copied somehow.
Yes.
So castles a4 was played. To be honest, I think a5 would have been a pretty good copy. I think it would have been useful. But black played queen b6 first, rook a2, and then played a5. Knight e5, didn't play knight e4 though, played knight bd7, takes. I mean, black's doing very well here, in actual fact. It's no problems at all. Maybe c5 was a slightly strange move, because you get bishop b5, so it wouldn't have been my first. I would have been thinking more about playing for e5, especially now that white's exchanged off a knight with knight f3 to d7. But c5, bishop b5, rook fd8, rook e1, bishop d6. Position still pretty even here. Rook a1 and e5. Oh, there's a big dubious mark there from Lee Chess. Yes, it's a little bit loose, but I wouldn't necessarily say straight away that it's a bad move. The only thing is that you're not quite nicely coordinated in the center there somehow, and but what white did was quite sneaky actually. He played queen f3 and then played queen g3. So pinning the pawn, and also threatening bishop d7 and takes. Oh, good Lord. Oh, actually, that works out really badly somehow, because now white puts more pressure on the pawn. Yeah, out of nowhere, black's just got himself pinned in places. Quite surprising somehow. So rook e8 was played, rook d1, rook d8, and now, oh, this was nasty, e4. Because we've got pins here somehow. It's actually what happened. Takes. You can't take with a pawn because there's this one, and after cd4 we take with a knight. Ooh, that went nasty.
Yeah.
Queen e7 takes, queen c3, and black resigned. I mean, you're threatening queen a5. You've also got bishop c4, and you've still got this massive pin as well here as well. So horrible position. Oh, that went badly all of a sudden somehow, didn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, we've seen a few other games have ended quickly. This one is not too surprising. This turned nasty very quickly for white in the opening. We left it here, and black sort of just put the pieces into the white position, and it was all too horrible, really. So queen f2 check, coming with checkmate there.
How's Peter Finn doing?
Peter Finn, I'll just have a look. Just saw that Callum lost. My goodness, they played quickly. They must have, or rather, Wojciech played quickly.
Yeah.
1 hour 18 left to 2.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So, that may seem to. I think he probably got a bit blitzed there somehow. How's Peter doing? Oh, very unclear position, this one. Let's have a look how that went. So knight c3 played. C6 we mentioned, indeed. C6, and then bishop g5. Oh, we actually got something that we were vaguely looking at before. So bishop g5 was played, bishop e7. Then Peter played knight a4, and then used this overloading of the bishop to double the pawns. It's not very clear because, I mean, white doesn't really have any attacking pieces there. So the king's a little bit loose, but yeah, it's not very clear somehow. But okay, e4. D takes c4, f4. Wow, Peter's going for it. King h8, king h1. So quite an unclear position here. Bit of a mess, this one. So, I mean, this knight's got quite irritating pressure. I mean, if you go b5, then knight c5. And also, c5, there's d takes c5. So, although you wouldn't put it past black, obviously, to get the right position, but to play c5 and then b5, obviously the queen's hanging, I know, but, just in general, this could be quite a nice way of activating the queen side somehow. Otherwise, yeah, what is? I guess I'm not quite sure what white will do. Maybe white will aim to try and put a bit of pressure on the pawn, or yeah, it's a bit of a messy position, but black should somehow be okay, I think, because the king's, black's got the 2 bishops. The king isn't really a danger yet, and there is stuff like the weak d4. The pawn's a little bit weak somehow. Maybe we could play bishop c7, rook d8, and line up on it. But a bit of a mess, really. So going to be an interesting sharp game there. How about this one? How is? Edita's done pretty well here, really. I mean, you've managed to get in e5 and f5. The bishop's looking in good shape, and white hasn't really managed to do very much at all, to be honest. So I like black's position very much here. Yeah.
Is black threatening e4?
E4 is definitely an idea, absolutely. And obviously bishop e7 is in the position, but then rook d4 will be very, very good. So we'll actually win the bishop, I think, because after queen g5 we go rook f7. The bishop hasn't got any square to go to.
Oh, it's funny, these bishops keep getting stranded, don't they?
They keep on getting stranded, don't they? It's true. So no, I mean, black's doing very, very well here. So yeah,
it was Danny Gormali's, was it? No, Simon Williams' bishop was stranded a bit.
Simon Williams' bishop, that's right. Yeah, actually, shall we see how Simon's getting on? Because I'm sure there must be some fireworks going on there. Oh, good lord. Lots of pawns have been sacrificed. Let's have a look. So so bishop e2. Actually, Jacob took on b6. He didn't play d takes c5. He took on b6.
Yeah.
C takes b6. Oh, and then munched here. My goodness.
Oh my goodness.
My goodness. No fear. Bishop d3 and then munched here. So how many pawns is that? That's 3 pawns. My goodness. So rook f1.
His king's not castle.
Well, he got his king castle now. Takes, knight d5, queen e4, king a1, bishop d7, rook e1. Yeah, in principle,
right?
It's double-edged. In principle, I would say that I mean, I think Simon's compensation is quite light somehow, because there's no,
because can't you go queen Oh, I was just going to try and swap off queens, but actually you could just drop back, can't you?
You can drop back. Yeah, no, you can't force anything. I mean, in general, I think white's compensation is quite light because, I mean, black's 3 pawns up and his pieces aren't really tied down or anything. You know, I mean, you've got open files for the rooks. The bishop has got diagonals. So, but of course, you know, there are open files. There's rooks that can come into the 7th, rooks that can come to the G file. You know, it's not going to be simple for black. You know, put it that way. You're going to have to exercise a good amount of care, but in general, I would think that black is objectively winning here. So I don't know. I mean, Queen A4 is a sensible move to get the queen out of attack with tempo. I mean, another not unsensible move would be to play the move Queen F3, which, you know, attacks the rook and the knight, and basically, you know, tries to tries to stop this rook from moving away. Basically, you know, that's not a silly move either. But yeah, I mean, it's really going to be a mess. I mean, Queen C3 most likely is what you do after Queen A4, and then black's got to try and work out how he's going to get his pieces active. I mean, I think. Let's have a look. King H8 is not a silly move. So obviously, if you go rook E7, I've got Queen D1, so we're keeping an eye on that one. And if you go rook D4, well, now I can go Queen C6. You know, that's the idea, because there's no longer that check. So I don't know. I mean, you know, something like Queen G3. I could go maybe, you know, rook E8. But I mean, there's always ideas, right? I mean, there's rook G1, rook F7. I mean, we can we've got ideas like, is this an idea? Rook H4, Queen D5, Queen G6.
Oh my goodness!
It certainly is an idea. But it's always the question about, are these actually working? I mean,
does it work? Yeah.
I could go King G8, for example, rook H7, rook E7, but then I go Queen H5, and maybe I'm winning there. You know, it's kind of crazy, really. I mean, I could also go King F8 in this position to meet rook G7 with rook E1, and then I go rook G7. It's a bit bananas, really. I mean, it's on the edge of desperation, really. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's there's 15 moves. You know, we're only on move 25.
Oh yeah.
Black's got limited amount of time. Yeah, you know, anything could happen, really. You know, but in general, I mean, you know, white's really fighting desperately here to prove some compensation for the 3 pawns there. You know, it's but okay, it's something that you're not too surprised to see Simon having. You know, if you were going to say who might have this position somehow, Queen C3 played. Yeah.
Okay, should we look at one more and wind up, or we can wind up?
I think that's a good idea. We can do that.
Rukkaya and Kobe.
Oh yeah, that was a good game, wasn't it? Whoa! He did play G5. I told you he would. Yeah. And then
and you went Bishop E5. I was going for Bishop D2,
Bishop D2, which is also very interesting. Yeah. Rook G8 and Knight A3. And then going by the principle of play the move least likely to be played, Kobe played the move Bishop H6 with the idea of playing G4. My goodness, this is bananas. Totally bananas. What is Rukkaya going to play? Maybe G4?
Goodness.
That would be quite a move. I don't know. It might not be bad, actually. It might not be bad. Would certainly stop everything, because it's a little bit irritating, I suppose, if G4 comes along. You'll get your pieces knocked around. But yeah, I don't know.
Knight C4.
Well, we're going to get hit by G4, and then we'll have Bishop C1.
Okay.
So you need to have something something clever somehow for that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, knight b6 is not really going to it's not really achieving anything. Knight c4 to b6. I mean, we can just move the queen out of the way, so not easy. I'd sort of be tempted to play g4 and just say,
Rook
well, at least I
e1
don't.
as well.
Sorry,
Rook e1 to try and.
Rook e1 is also sensible. I think we'll probably black will go g4 and then maybe something like this. I don't know. Or play king f8. Yeah. Bananas. This is totally bananas. The problem is we're playing rook e1. This knight is just not really moving.
Yeah, because you don't have a knight c4 anymore. Yeah, so g4 is probably the thing, isn't it?
I would be tempted to go g4 and just stop, anything from happening there, at least, and then, really try and make sure I get the knight into c4 somehow. But yeah, I get the feeling that maybe Kobe plays king. I get the feeling maybe Kobe's sort of somehow with this magic and this voodoo, he's managed to get a good position somehow. But it's crazy, absolutely bananas. This really fun game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think we were only going to go until about 6 o'clock for this stream, so we can sort of end it there. Hope we've given you a nice little taste of the Hastings Congress. Do keep on tuning in to obviously the broadcast on Lichess, and we're going to do a few more sessions, aren't we? Looking at various stuff, and also maybe at the Rilton Cup as well. We'll have a little look where lots of English players are playing, including one of our talented Tuesday guys, Supratit Banerjee. So we will do all that. But yeah, I mean, thanks very much, Natasha, for organising all the stream and everything, and always lovely commentating with you. And yeah, just thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah,
all of our normal suspects. Really nice, Ocelot, Kevin. Always lovely to see you in the stream. And yeah, hope to see you on future streams.
Great. Thanks all very